VVash. I want the bad forever, ever, 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 ever. I want the bad forever. I want the bad forever. I want the bad forever.
What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Car Guy back at it again with another video. Now today I'm gonna be wrapping my rear spoiler. I know in the last video I said that I was gonna get a carbon fiber duck lip, but I got some carbon fiber wrap laying around. I figured, what the hell, let me see what it looks like. So today we're gonna tackle that task, and this is how you do it. First thing you want to do is you want to clean the area that you're going to be wrapping. I'm just going to use some water and some soap in a bucket and like a couple rags just to get it cleaned up. But you really want this area pretty clear and pretty clean, so that the wrap and the underside of the wrap, the sticky side of the wrap, doesn't roll up whenever you hit wind or whatever like that. And you want to make sure that it adheres. You want to make sure that it adheres pretty well to the part that you're going to be wrapping. So. So here are the supplies that we're going to be using for this project. A heat gun. I'm using an old AutoZone rewards card because I could not find my squeegee. And then obviously a knife to cut the wrap, and then some scissors to cut the big wrap. Then of course we have the actual wrap that I'm going to be using for this project. Now here you'll see I am cutting the actual wrap. If your wrap isn't as tough, or if it's really delicate, I wouldn't advise cutting it on the concrete. This wrap is actually really tough. I've used it before, but all I did was line it up with the little words. I don't know if you can see that, but the little words there, and just cut along it to make sure I had a straight line. What you can also do is you can use a long ruler, however you feel comfortable, you know, cutting your wrap. This was just the method that I used. It was pretty simple to me. And then here I just flipped it over to kind of show you guys what the wrap actually looks like. It is a carbon fiber wrap. So yeah. Okay, so now onto the actual wrapping process. What you're gonna do is actually lay out your project, or lay out your product. What I did was actually anchored both corners first. You can see that here. I don't know if you can, I mean, it's not in the frame, but all I did was peel off a little piece of the backing on the wrap and anchored it to the other side of my where I was going to be wrapping at, and then I kind of, you know, anchored that down, and then I went to the other side and actually did the same thing, so that way I made sure it was stable and I had enough product to do the entire thing. So that's what I'm doing here. I just want to clarify, I am by no means a professional at this. I do it as kind of a hobby. So yeah, if something that I'm doing here is wrong, don't jump down my throat. I mean, it's my car. I do what I want. But so here all I'm doing is taking the rest of the backing off, so that I can finish the project, I guess. So I take it off in order to actually glass down the rest of it. And what I mean by glassing is actually smoothing out the air bubbles. And you'll see that a little bit later in the video, but yeah, so I took the rest of the backing off of it because I knew I had enough. I didn't have to cut it down anymore. And if you do have excess, it's okay. You actually want to have excess because you're going to be cutting away a lot of it. But I wouldn't recommend cutting away so much if you have, like, this was a pretty expensive wrap, but I have a ton of it. So I wasn't really worried about wasting a little bit, and I don't use it that often, so. So here, like I said, I'm glassing down the areas that I want to anchor, that are going to be pretty permanent. What I do here is I lift up most of the wrap, and then I just kind of go over it slowly with my car. I actually put blue painter's tape on the the rewards card because I didn't want to scratch the wrap, and it actually worked pretty well, so I'm kind of satisfied with how it came out. But yeah, so here I'm just glassing it down, making sure everything is smooth, getting out all the air bubbles. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory how to do this. You can do this many different ways, but the way that I do it is lift up what's not smooth and then I just kind of use the car to run over the rest of it. Okay, so what I'm doing here is actually going back and smoothing out the part that connects to the top of my trunk, so that way that it looks smooth and it covers the entire front of it, so there's no like white showing or anything like that. That was my biggest thing on this project, was making sure that it's 100% covered. I didn't want anything white showing. I used a little bit of the heat gun to kind of, mold it to the shape that I wanted. Be careful with this, because if you do this, sometimes it'll like burn a hole in the wrap. It didn't this time, mainly because I've done this a couple times before, so I kind of knew how much heat to put on it and how much force I needed to put into the squeegee. But yeah, so just be careful with the heat gun. So once I got that part down, I went ahead and cut away the excess. Be very, very, very careful with this part, because if you put too much force into it, you can actually cut into your paint, and you do not want that. So what I did was I used the card again to kind of get underneath it and kind of gauge how much pressure I was putting into it with my hand, with both my hands. That way I knew I wasn't putting too much force and I wasn't cutting into my paint. And it actually worked out. So what you can actually do with this is sometimes before you put down your wrap,